Here we go. Hello and welcome to another episode of the CULTRAS Football Podcast with me, James, Fionn and Michael. And today we are joined by a very special guest, Talksport reporter and Newcastle superfan, Olly Clink, everybody.
Hi guys, how are you all doing?
We really need to stop doing that. It just like dies immediately, doesn't it?
I tried to keep it going.
No, I keep it going. I love it. That's great. Round of applause. My Newcastle superfan, as you can tell by my thick Geordie accent, of course.
Do not worry. I went to Salford University, and 3 of my friends were all from Sale and supported Arsenal. So it is a
is that more of a crime? I think it might be. Yeah, I think it might be more of a crime.
I said they should stop their own podcast, Northern Gunners, but they didn't listen to me. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, obviously, Newcastle, an abundance, a wealth of Barclaysmen. I think first off, are there any that sort of stand out for you that you enjoyed?
I think so. So I started supporting Newcastle around 2002, 2003-ish. And basically the reason I did, so I grew up near Portsmouth, which again is another club, full of Barclaysmen. So
you had a choice there.
Yeah, real choice. And they had the TY kit at the time as well, which was an absolute belter. So I decided to choose the club furthest away, obviously. No, I think all I can remember is watching Match of the Day each week, and just Alan Shearer just kept scoring every single week, and didn't really know where it was. Decided to go for it, and then you can't change, can you? You can't change. I think I remember the film. Goal coming out as well, and loving that. So
loving
there,
that.
That was it. Yeah, exactly. I was only a kid.
The most obviously written by a Geordie film ever. Every available opportunity. Newcastle, it's a big club, that thing.
My favourite bit.
I've watched it over 700 times. Yeah, it's
there's a bit where Santiago has a teammate from Tranmere Rovers, and he goes, all right, Santi lad," and then he gets injured, and he goes, "I don't think I'll be making the first team anytime soon." It's like proper. My first football film. It's a proper paint by numbers. Like, I mean, it's great. It is great. Have you ever seen Goal 2, where he goes to Real Madrid?
Yeah, Goal 2's good. And then Goal 3 is probably the worst film I've ever seen.
Yeah, honestly, it's sort of like an hour and a half advert for the EDL, isn't it, in many respects?
Yeah.
I feel like I need to watch Goal 3 now. What happens in Goal 3?
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing.
So I think what happens is it's the World Cup, and it must have been 2006, and England they suddenly flicked from Santiago Munez, because I've got this feeling that Mexico either weren't there or went out in the group. So he's like hardly in it at all. And then focus on these 2 England players. And do you know what? I don't want to ruin it for you. I'll let you watch it. But it has one of the weirdest plot twists of all time. It's well worth a watch, just more as an experiment, really, to see if it really is the worst film ever made. But Goal 1, can't beat it. It's amazing. That's where the dream begins.
That Newcastle team, 02 to 03, the sort of NTL years.
Yeah.
I like to call it.
Yeah.
Just having a brief look. I mean, Given, Solano, Genus, Dyer, Shearer, Bellamy, Speed, Ambrose, Hughes, Bramble, Loire, Amiobi, Woodgate, Chopra, Caldwell, Oliver Bernard. I mean, it is Lauren Robert. It's just
glaring omission there with Clarence Acuna.
Yes, apologies.
Lauren Robert. Oh my word! Like, he has got to be right up there in terms of I mean, what are they? The NTLsmen? But definitely. And Solano both insane at crossing and insane at set pieces, particularly Lauren Robert scored just ultimate worldies all the time. And obviously, I mean, I say it was Shearer that helped me fall in love with them, but because they had players like that as well, you just knew every single time you're going to be entertained. I've got to have Charles Nzogbia in there as well. He's a bit later. Charles Nzogbia, mainly because, not just because he scored an absolute screamer against Middlesbrough. And am I right in saying as well, Fionn, in the same game, was it Julio Arca also scored a worldie?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
2-2, and it was insane.
Yeah, there's always I remember that. I think it was it was either Arca or Rockenbach. What year were we talking?
I think it was 07.
Yeah, one of them. One of Arca or Rockenbach, anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, Charles Dugby has been there not just because, for many reasons actually, because he also was in the Wigan team, and all hail the Wigan Barclaysmen, obviously. But he has been there because our manager Joe Kinnear called him Charles Insomnia in an interview.
Yes, that was I remember that.
And then he also called some of our future Barclaysmen in Johan Kebab. He called him Johan Kebab. I think that was on Talksport actually.
Oh yeah. Johan Kebab
as well. Yeah. So I think in terms of early Barclaysmen, Lauren Bear. I think as well with Lauren Bear, every time you had a free kick with him on FIFA 05, I think it was, you would score because he was just he'd just like arrow it top left, and just every single time he was just belting. I
remember Nobby Solano scored a few screamers as well in his time.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, big.
He was great with Solano,
and he played the trumpet. Like
did he?
He was a huge trumpet player, and used to I think when they went on like away trips, some of the players who talked about this would just like wake them up in the morning by just coming out and just playing the trumpet really loudly in front of all of them. And
phenomenal.
I think it was like Craig Bellamy absolutely hated it. But yeah, that was amazing. It's been great actually because if I can do my first name drop of the podcast, spend a bit of time with Darren Ambrose, who you mentioned there, who's obviously was involved in that team as well. It's weird talking about goal because he's got an amazing story about that where he actually had a line in the film. They were like, right, Ambrose, you're going to be the one to say it, and he was like, oh, brilliant. Right, and all you have to say is, question, boss, where's Santiago? Because I think they were like waiting in the dressing room and Muniz hadn't turned up or something. So it's like, right, yeah, going to do it. Did the scene. Director was like, oh, amazing. Darren, that was amazing. God, where's the Oscar? You know what I mean? Brilliant. Anyway, he then the film came out, and he took this girl out who is now his wife. He took this girl out for the first date. And he was like, yeah, let's go see this goal film because you might recognise. Muggins here might be in it. Right. He goes and watches the film. Going through, and he's like, surely in that bit of the film should be my line. But no, they said they have it in, so it must be later. And he just said there was this moment, the credits just started rolling. He just had to
they cut him.
Yeah, cut him out.
Darren Ambrose has been cut from a Hollywood movie. That's
yeah.
Ambrosia on his face.
Exactly.
When I was having a look at the potential Barclaysmen for Newcastle, I stumbled across one. I forgot he even played for Newcastle. He only played for 3 games. Ronnie Johnson.
Oh yeah, that's a great shout.
Yeah, I noticed something about him. He's never made a milestone at a club. It's crazy.
He's played 9 games in every team.
Pretty much. So he started off at Stoke, but the Norwegian Stoke, Stokke. And then he played for Ike Tonsberg. He played 98 games. Norwegian Stoke. Ike Tonsberg, 98 games. Man United, 99 games. Aston Villa, 49 games. Vålerenga, 59 games, and Newcastle, 3 games. So
no way.
He's not made a milestone in his career.
That's a great shout, by the way. From absolutely nowhere, yeah. But yeah, I guess because if you move forward from the NTLs, man, I think you have to it's when you get to like the kind of that 10-11 and then 11-12 season where they just come up. First, when they had that team, it was Nolan and Barton and Carroll.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
God,
Rosenal. Yeah, that is a proper Barclaysman, yeah.
Politini, Gutierrez, I think I said
Gutierrez before cancer was, especially afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Sorry,
because as much as I obviously naturally despise Newcastle as a Middlesbrough fan, when he scored that goal on the last day, you have to go, oh, that's a bit special.
I was at that game actually as well, and I think that's the closest I've properly beaten to crying in the ground. It was insane, absolutely insane. But also, you know, the fact he used to bring out a Spider-Man mask as well. Just it's the little details of these players that make it just lift them from you know, just normal brilliant players to just absolute boxers.
Yeah, I often think that about, like, for some reason, one of the first players that's like lodged in my head, Facundo Sava. I think like just because of the mask. Yeah, just like
phenomenal.
And like Roque Santa Cruz used to get like either a fucking a dummy out or a fucking a Santa hat on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
And even like in Kunku now with the balloon thing, I kind of like that. I do.
Yeah.
Props on a football pitch.
yeah, I like it.
Who's the one who's doing Thriller as well? Is that Nicholas Jackson?
Jackson did Thriller, yeah.
We won't be seeing that much then. Please.
Hey,
speaking of thrillers. Oh, sorry, man.
No, you've got a great line into it there. Speaking of thrillers,
I was going to say I think we'd be remiss not to mention, may rest in peace, the fantastic 4-4 against Arsenal. Which I think
Rest in peace.
No, but what's wrong with that?
No, just before you say check Tiote. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, may he rest in peace for all against Arsenal.
People. We'll edit this bit out. May rest in peace. The fantastic Czech Tiote, who I think is you mentioned earlier, that sort of later period, sort of Pardew. In fact, was Pardew in charge of that 2011?
So that was Chris Hughton was in charge of that.
Chris Hughton,
season.
Yes. And then
and then they changed the Pards.
That's his only goal, isn't it?
It was his only goal.
Wow.
He scored an unbelievable disallowed goal against Man City, and it was an absolute farce. Like, they said that Yoan Goufrann, absolute Barclaysman, by the way. Was in front of the goalkeeper, and he's nowhere near the goalkeeper. And it's more of a worldie than the Arsenal one, but obviously, you know, given what happened with the Arsenal one, it has to be. It's one of the best, you know, goals in Newcastle's history. That, isn't it? It is phenomenal. What a day that was, and like I can remember as well, and it's quite famous with Newcastle fans. You watch the celebrations back. Tiote runs down the pitch, you know, screaming. All the players go after him. And then Steve Harper just runs over and just out of nowhere just has a people's elbow into the pitch for no reason. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But that team just had so much like grit in it as well.
There's what's it like in when Newcastle had like loads and loads because of Alan Carr's dad, which is Barclays in itself. Because of Alan Carr's dad, Newcastle had like basically Newcastle do the proto Wolves but with Frenchmen. Instead of Portuguese. And then, like, there's so many players in that squad that, like, just forget about. Like, Florian Thauvin was in the World Cup winning.
Oh, my word. Yeah,
he's still going as well, isn't he?
He's the World Cup winner. And, when he left, he was incredible, I think, for Marseille. It was almost player of the season, might have even won player of the season.
It was a good player prior to.
So bad for us. Yeah. So bad for us.
Well, you've got a whole list of players that have been so bad. Yeah, Xisco,
Remy Cabella as well.
Jean-Alain Boumsong. Yeah, there's some. Was Tiote pre or post Cassapa?
He was post Cassapa.
Post Cassapa, was he?
Cassapa was around kind of 08. We had a guy called what was his first name? I can't. Onyewu as well. This random.
Gucci Onyewu. Yeah.
That was it. Gucci Onyewu. Didn't he move to Burnley or something? I can't.
He had a fight.
David Edson moved to Burnley.
If someone gets
Gucci Onyewu.
He's a Champions League winner, isn't he?
If he gets, he fell out. He like had a massive fight with someone really famous, like Ibrahimovic or someone. Onyewu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He would have played in the States, didn't he? Yeah.
I'm sure because he went to Milan, didn't he?
There's like a blood.
I'm on his personal life now.
I got Onyewu and like someone actually really good, and it's just funny like thinking about like Zlatan Ibrahimovic with loads of trophies, sat in his mansion of trophies, fuming about Onyewu.
Well, I can't find that, but I can find out that Onyewu is the second tallest outfield player to ever play for the US men's national team. There you go.
There you go.
After Omar Gonzalez.
this 4-all squad here, I mean, we've mentioned Tiote. I mean, I don't want to mention Joey Bolton, but he does score 2 penalties. The other goal scorer, and it's the Leon Best.
I know.
Wow.
And
did he have an extra toe?
Yoan Goufrann scored in that game
he did,
as well.
yes. Yeah,
Sure
he did.
I'm looking at the squad here, 1 to 11. So you've got Harper, you've got Colaccini, Jose Enrique, Danny Simpson, Mike Williams, Peter Lovenkrands up top.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then on the bench,
my favourite chant.
Niall Ranger.
Wow.
And Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell on the bench.
God, yeah, he was there.
I didn't know Sol Campbell was on the bench for that game. That's mad. Yeah, that's mad.
That's mental.
Yeah, but yeah, Sol Campbell didn't have the best spell with us, but yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it's funny. It's also funny you mentioned Kachapa because, or Kasapa because I
however it's pronounced.
However it's pronounced. This is so weird and pathetic for me. I can remember on like the FIFA games around then, it must be like FIFA 08 or FIFA 9. Like Clive Tilsley always says his name wrong. He says like Kapasa or something. And that's like riling me up to like a stupid degree. Like
control breaking.
Get it
yeah.
5.
I can't remember what FIFA it was, but it was before Dirk Kuyt signed for Liverpool, and whoever the commentator was.
I was just going to say Dirk Kuyt.
Yeah.
Pronounced it Queeched.
Queeched.
What?
Queeched. My gripe with FIFA, I hate, and I've deliberately stopped counter-attacks to pass the ball back, is to hear out the anecdote Martin Tyler has about the... So like, you for example, say I'm playing against Newcastle, and it will say, we're here at St James's Park, a bastion of the one-club team in the north, and it's a goal! Like, no. I want
Keep going.
To finish off what you were saying.
That sounds like the opening lines of Goal, the Dream Begins as well.
You've reported on a lot of games. What would you say that if you had to distill it down into one match? What's the best match you've reported on?
So it's such a good question because you could answer that in terms of what's been the biggest occasion, like the biggest game itself, but I'm not even joking. The best actual game of football I've seen live was last Saturday, and I was at Chelsea Brighton. Even just for the first half, it was absolutely mad. Usually when a game's going on and you're reporting, you've got a bit of time to have a sip of coffee or just maybe get a few notes together, something like that. You genuinely couldn't stop watching the game. It could have been 7 or 8 all at half time. It was brilliant. Like both sides, all out attack with decent players and awful defending.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. And I think, and actually to see a Premier League record with Palmer scoring 4 in the first half, and no one's ever done that. It's quite a special moment. And it's even because when you go down afterwards to do the interviews and stuff, you bump into some of the other people from 5 Live or Match of the Day or whatever, and even that, some of those lads have been in the game for quite a while, and they were like, "That is one of the most crazy games I've seen." So yeah, it was
very Barclaysman-esque, wasn't it? Obviously, 4 goals by 1, and then Rutte and what's the other fella, Baleba. They're definite future Barclaysmen.
100%.
Baleba, whatever he's got to say his name, he only scores bangers him as well.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the flash of blonde, hasn't he, as well? So he's just...
Also, I don't know why, but Robert Sanchez, just for the errors he makes, is quite Barclaysman. I don't know why. It just, he's almost just so bad, but he is there as well. But that was incredible. I think the biggest in terms of just the occasion, I did Arsenal Man City a couple of seasons ago. Man City 3-1, and to be there for that was really, really special as well, because it was the other, it was coming up to the end of the season as well, so it really meant a lot. So that was brilliant. But honestly, that game last Saturday was hectic and amazing. Loved it, absolutely loved it.
So I know you mentioned briefly then you get to speak to other people from other firms. Who's the best you've met, or the wisest you've met upon
that's
mingling
really,
in the tunnel?
In mingling terms, is this in terms of kind of commentators and
that kind of reporters?
I'd say Mark Scott from Match of the Day is always really, really lovely, really pleasant, and nice to speak to. John Southall from Five Live. Again, just we always seem to end up at the same games together. So you really build up a nice rapport. And then also Henry Moran, who does a lot of TMS, sometimes goes into he's much more multi-talented than me, but sometimes comes and does football reporting. So it's quite nice to get to know him, and he and then hear him on TMS if I'm listening to the cricket as well. So nice. It's always a really nice. It's really nice. I always find there's no kind of competitiveness. There's no, it's funny that you said rival firms, but everyone helps each other out, and it's always very good.
What's speak on the same subject? What's Adrian Durham like in person? Does he try and invoke rage responses from his friends and colleagues as well as listeners?
He's horrendous. No, I'm joking.
He's an absolute master of his art, though, isn't he? Getting people to phone in.
Honestly, Adrian is absolutely amazing. Seriously, he's a brilliant bloke. He's really nice. Learned loads from him. He's an icon, really, isn't he? In terms of what he's done over the years, 20 years at Talksport as well. And it's always a good laugh working alongside him. But it's so funny you say about the him having opinions and stuff, because I can always remember that the first time I did a bit of a report, and I think I said something like, I think it was Arsenal against Leicester, for sake of argument. And I said, Arsenal have been brilliant going forward. They're attacking so well. Leicester just can't handle them. And it's Arsenal 2, Leicester 0. And he just went, he was next to me and he just went, well, hang on. And as soon as that, honestly, the fear that you felt, here we go. And he was like, you're not going to talk about Leicester's defending. It's been atrocious. And I was like, yeah, fair enough, Adrian. I'll let you do that for me, yeah.
Is it quite, I imagine, initially, is it quite like a tough fit? Because I've tried practicing it, and I've tried, even you mentioned cricket before, cricket's a mad one, because if I listen to a test on the radio, and it's like Anderson up to the crease, and it's bowled wide. I heard Ed Sheeran was spotted in the pavilion.
There's a lot of filling, yeah.
And then it just goes Australia 141 for 2, and now traffic in travel, and it's seamless. Even on Sky, where it's
there's a pile up in Telford.
There's drama at Fratton Park, and then it's you've got to be so concise within sort of 10-20 seconds. Is it quite difficult?
I think with reporting, because that you have to be out that quick, because what you're doing, you guys will have seen it if it's Soccer Saturday, whatever, they'll bounce around the grounds, and you kind of are told, it depends what's happening in your game. If there's a VAR check or a red card or something quite spicy or interesting, they'll let you go on for a bit longer. But if you're just doing a report, you're going to aim for about 40 seconds. So in terms of filling for that kind of thing, it's not as hard, but maybe if you're presenting or doing a full commentary as well, or a full football commentary, then that's when the little Ed Sheeran things get thrown in. There was a good one the other day with, I think Ed Sheeran must have been at an Ipswich game, and one of our older commentators was doing the game, mentioned that Ed Sheeran was there, and then the co-coms, I think it was Matt Holland actually, just every now and then, definitely a Barclaysman, was just throwing in little Ed Sheeran lines and just going, he's looking at the striker and going, I don't like the shape of you. And Nigel had no idea. No idea. Everyone listening in was absolutely pissing themselves, because it was brilliant from Matt Holland. And I still don't think he's told him as well. It's so good.
What's the best Barclaysman you work with?
That's a great question. Well, Darren Bent. It's got to be Darren Bent, surely. Or Gabby as well.
Darren Bent.
On the hall.
Oh, mate, Darren Bent. I watched the Ipswich Villa game on the weekend. He was incredible. Yeah. Absolutely, massively underrated, I think, Darren Bent. He was amazing.
Yeah. He was. I'm not sure why he doesn't do that more, because he was so good. Even in the Man U Spurs game as well. And that's that's talking about someone who's used to hearing him and used to seeing him quite a lot, but. Even there he was fantastic and a great.
I saw a Spurs fan giving him stick.
I was absolutely devastated to see him, I'll be honest, because United 1-0 down and man sent off and no Roy Keane. What's the fucking point?
That's the only thing I also thought. I was like, where's the box office? Where is he?
Yeah.
I thought,
Got fucking Ashley Young
um,
going. You're not Roy Keane, Ashley. Fuck off. Yeah.
By the way, I can't tell you how much Darren Bent loves the Barclaysman idea, and he loves being a Barclaysman as well.
Can you put in a word for an appearance for our first footballer then, Kenny?
Yeah.
We'll talk about trainers, I promise.
We had
but yeah, he loved it. Loved it.
On commentators, though, before we move on, very pointless anecdote from me. At Piccadilly Station once, met Jonathan Pearce when Borough were managed by Pulis. Very lovely, but I asked him for a picture, and I went, oh, and then just walked away. Then he initiated, what do you reckon to Pulis? And we were, I didn't, and I'm very glad I didn't verbalise my true feelings. Oh, yeah, he's all right. Oh, yeah, we're close personal friends from like 30. Oh, God. I didn't say that.
I'd say never mind Pulis, Jonathan. What about the corruption of Tornado winning Series 4 of Robot Wars by using the anti-cheat device?
Oh, you know, I was proper angry with myself because I forgot to mention Robot Wars. As soon as he got on the stand, I was like, fucking hell. Should have mentioned Chaos too.
No, that would have been a reporting job. Oh, wow. Yes, Jim.
You've been to a lot of grounds. It says here your favourite stadium you've been to. You said you've been to some great grounds, but one is the Valley. Now the Valley's high.
The Valley's super.
Now,
yeah, absolutely.
From the outside, you could fool it for being quite a pedestrian sort of, ground. But I've heard reports like from Fionn, people have been there. It's quite intimidating. What is it about the Valley for you?
Do you know what? It's exactly what you just said there. It's the fact that when you see it from the outside, you're not massively expecting too much. I think the first time I went there, one of my colleagues texted me and said, "The Valley, I promise you, is sneaky good." And I thought, "Oh, that's interesting." And I kind of got there and I thought, well, okay, it's not not hugely impressive from the outside, but we'll see what happens. Went in, staff were really friendly. I remember that their Wi-Fi password was some sort of dig at Sunderland because they'd just beaten them in the League One playoff final. So I enjoyed that, obviously. And then you actually go up there and in, and that's the thing. It's this huge kind of bowl. And the only sad thing I think about going to the Valley is just where Charlton are at the moment, because I wish it cool. And weirdly, it just evoked memories of watching that ground on Match of the Day back in the noughties, and I always remember that Van Persie's absolute screamer, and then he ran up those little steps and celebrated with the fans, and it was something where I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, and I can imagine if that place was full, it would be absolutely rocking in there.
Is it Upton Park-esque? Is it?
Yeah,
what West Ham have lost.
It's like dead close to my favourite bit about it was Nelson Mandela House, which is like just outside. Like got a proper big high rise, and I could see like blokes leaning out the window, fagging mouth, going out.
I would love to go to the Valley.
And that's what's so good about it. It's kind of one of those that's near a residential area. I was at Loftus Road recently as well, and weirdly Adrian did his top 10 grounds, and he put the Valley in there, and he put Loftus Road as number one. And it's hard to argue with. I'd
like to go there as well, I think.
Yeah, I think Loftus Road looks fantastic.
We kind of loosely came up with the idea of visiting the traditional grounds still standing.
Yeah. Brilliant.
As a bit of a content idea, and Loftus Road didn't even pop into my head because there's loads still going, because obviously there's a lot of grounds now that look like shopping centres, isn't there? And they're all encompassing with a bowling alley and things like that, which is great for the customer. But there's still some phenomenal grounds standing, obviously going down, and then Ipswich coming up to the Premier League.
What a ground that is! You know what? When you asked me that question, that would have been second on the list. Because it was a place I hadn't been.
Are you just ticking off Darren Bent clubs?
It's just a homage to Bentley. I've got a shot him in my room.
No beach balls, please. No beach balls.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it'd be a push to say the Stadium of Light, of course. Ipswich, brilliant ground, and I love they've got on the side of the ground they've got like their famous games, and one of them is a 4-0 loss to Newcastle, but it was the first time that they both met, after Bobby Robson had passed, and And yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow.
really like a special occasion. And they just say like, despite the result, what a brilliant day. So yeah, it was a great club, and I love it. Yeah,
fantastic. Well, we'll have to get to the Valley at some point. That sounds great. You obviously interviewing footballers. I mean, for sort of a sidebar, when you interview footballers, did it shock you when you realised that it wasn't a room you went into? It was just like a kind of two sort of plyboard things with sponsors on. When I went on the tour of Anfield, the guy, he proper shattered my dreams. He went, "Oh yeah, they don't go into like a separate room. There's just like this, just these two boards. They just stand in the corner." Great, thanks very much, mate.
To be fair, it does depend on the club. So don't worry, your dream's still alive, because there are clubs where there are separate rooms, and there are. So yeah, if you go with a tour of the Emirates, and they'll make your dreams come true, because they've got
that. Used to be James. Yeah. It used to be shattered every week when they interviewed Peter Crouch. Oh, Nicholas.
Yeah, you just see over the top. Yeah.
You said you've interviewed, it says here, Callum Wilson, Anthony Gordon. I mean, not to poach him off you, but hopefully a speculative move to Liverpool keeps on wheeling its way around the rumour mill. But you said that he was you're really impressed by him. What was it about Anthony Gordon, the way he carried himself?
I think the interesting thing about Gordon was when he moved to Newcastle, there were actually a few fans that were a bit, not disappointed, but they wanted him to prove himself, because there'd been a particular game, he'd come up to St James's Park and been a bit petulant, and he'd caused loads of arguments, he'd done a bit of diving, and I think a few people thought, we're just signing this kid here, not really realising, how highly rated he was. And that was something I kind of asked him about, and he just spoke with so much maturity, and he really, you do a lot of interviews where, sometimes, and it's completely fair enough, sometimes, footballers will get into emotion and they'll go through the answers that they've given the last interview or whatever it is, but he really thought about every single question I was asking him, gave really interesting answers. They talked about wanting to get into, he was already thinking about what he wanted to do after football, kind of has his life planned out. And what I just found amazing was that mentality shift from being that, arguably a bit petulant youngster to this, extremely
that was kind of the impression
driven bloke
that was painted of him at Everton, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah,
it was so impressive. And also just seems like a really nice guy as well. And clearly was loving his time at Newcastle, so hands off, Liverpool.
Sounds like you did a much better job than I did when I went to go and watch Newcastle on the opening day 2 seasons ago with the New Zealand supporters group, and we went to go and cheer on Chris Wood. And
Barclays, he's got to be in there, by the way. Barclays.
No, he isn't.
Oh, yeah.
Just because no, just because no.
We want Wood. We want
fucking shoe on. That cunt has been shoe on into every record we've ever done.
He's my favourite player of all time. And before I go on to the main, the sidebar is a Newcastle fan turned around to us and went, "New Zealand? I fucking love Shane Warne." And then mimed the batting action, which is obviously what he was most famous for.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then, I got to meet Chris Wood's mum and dad, and like, I know obviously you get nervous meeting players, but I got very nervous meeting the components of what made the man so special. And,
what did you eat while you was pregnant?
They went, "Oh, nice." Have you seen Chris play before? And I was like, "Oh, not in person." And then I just sort of panicked.
Just like the partridge thing, just revealed a full face tattoo on his stomach.
Not in the
just through the window.
I panicked and just went, "You must be very proud."
Jesus Christ.
Have you interviewed him?
No, not Chris Wood. He seems like a decent bloke, doesn't he?
Yeah, he seems
really
like
decent bloke. What were you going to say?
Would your
I love him.
Correct answer.
I love him so much.
Correct answer. Would your dream?
Sorry,
no, carry on, mate. You go.
No, I was just going to say that. Usually with players, it will be kind of pre-match stuff. Usually after I've interviewed more managers, I would say, than players actually. But
lovely.
But yeah, but Chris Wood, that would have been great. But it's so weird as well because I love Chris Wood and he's been a brilliant he's been brilliant at so many different clubs. It's just that
apart from Newcastle,
that little spell with us, he just wasn't. It didn't really click for him at all.
It was his off the ball play.
Yeah. Do you know what? As well? When talking to cricket, when we went to the
it was fucking shite.
The Ashes most recently at Old Trafford. Me and my mates got Wood 20 on the back of our Newcastle shirts for Mark Wood. The amount of lads that came up to us and went, "Is that for fucking Chris Wood? Are you fucking mental?"
I had that with Joe Allen when because it was just like, well, I can't get anyone else now. I've got to get Allen. When Joe Allen joined Liverpool, people would be like, "Oh, how's your brother doing?"
Shit, he's gone to Stoke.
Is your dream then? Would you said before? Would you love to call a report on the you possibly next season the way Sunderland are with a Timeway derby? Is that on the bucket list?
Yeah, no, definitely. Is it not Sunderland Middlesbrough? Is that not now the big derby or?
Well, supposedly. So Sunderland fans deny it's the fucking derby. It's close enough. Shut up.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. But apparently not for them. But no, I think that would be incredible to do. I think mainly as well because the first time I went to St James's Park was a Timeway derby. So
I was going to ask if you've been to one.
Yeah, and it was. I've never seen anything like it in terms of the atmosphere in there. Just not so much just how loud it was, just the tension was just insane, and that includes the day where Gutierrez scored, that goal, and we had to win to stay up, or we had to pretty much not lose to stay up. But the tension in there for that game, and they went 1-0 down. So actually, the first goal I ever saw live at St James's Park was scored by Sunderland, which was quite annoying. But then Shola Ramiobi scored the first Newcastle goal, so that's he's got to be in the Barclaysmen. Yeah.
Just a quick aside: have you ever done an international game that's not England?
No, I haven't actually. No, just England games.
Yeah,
I think I've done a couple of England friendlies, but yeah, how come?
I just wondered because obviously we usually ask what someone's favourite international tournament is, and if you turn around and said, "Oh yeah, I did the last World Cup," they'd be like, obviously. Then
I've reported on them, but from here, so not actually.
Right. Okay.
So, but it was it was the last Euro, so it was kind of Slovenia against Serbia, that kind of thing.
That's the kind of games we want.
Go to box park and getting pints chucked at you.
Yeah, exactly. Favourite tournament's got to be 2018 though, for obvious reasons.
Oh. Yeah. Have you got a bizarrest moment you've ever reported on?
That is a great question. Not necessarily during the game, but I've had the ball hit me once. And weirdly, I was doing Brentford Balls, which I'm at this week.
That must have been a shit shot. Were you up in the gantry?
I think I was who they were aiming for.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite. I was about to go on as well, which is a bit annoying because if it hit me whilst it was on, that would have been great. But just kind of looking through the notes and just suddenly felt this, ball just ping off my head. So quite funny.
Did you give it did it just smack you?
I tried. Probably not quite enough to look like I'd done a header, which is annoying. But not also it didn't hit me hard enough to get a big wave from the crowd. So that'd
have been worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my biggest fears that is just out of nowhere, like the ball, in the crowd, just sort of hitting you square in the face.
I've seen it at Altrincham where some fella carrying like chips or something. I was at Stockport County actually. All the way at Stockport County on Boxing Day, some guy with 2 pies.
Amazing!
Those match balls. I've held one of them, and they are like medicine balls. They are.
Yeah,
They are heavy.
Yeah.
The amount of
so pumped
TSI.
up. Yeah.
One of my claims to fame is I was once on a third eye of Soccer AM, and
What for?
I was a ball boy at York City, and we were at home to Torquay.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah. It was actually the first week of Year 7, and there was a lot of people from school at the game. And Neville Southall was in goal for Torquay, and he was stood outside his box, and the ball. Sweeper keeper.
Soccer AD, if you were in Year 7.
He was, somebody hit a ball.
Makes sense, but yeah.
It went wide, it hit the hoarding, and it bounced back out to just short of the penalty spot. And Nev was about 8 yards away from it, and I was about 18 yards away from it. And he just kind of like, go on in, get ball for me. So I was like, shit. So I like jogged onto the pitch to kick the ball and just lightly pass it back to him, and no grip on my trainers, wet pitch, slipped on my ass. In front of the full... So the first week of Year 7, it was the Saturday of the first week. On the Monday, everyone at school was like, "Oh, you're the dickhead on the pitch." Like, yeah, that's me.
I was once a ball boy for Sales Sharks, and
tossing pills.
Ball boys.
Pill boys.
They're called fluffers usually, aren't they?
Did you wear 2 polo shirts, one collar stuck up?
And I gave the ball to the wrong player on the kickoff, and walked back and was asked to move out of the way of the Bank of America sign. Down with big business. Before we finish, I cannot thank you enough, Ollie, for your time and for joining us.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
We'd like to end on a little game. Michael, would you like to do the honours?
If you don't mind, James, yes. Yeah. So it's basically last man standing, name a random footballer that played for a club that I have selected. Fion's not very good at this. I think.
No, again, I panic. I panic every time.
James is 4-1 up.
I've only won on Middlesbrough and just. I forgot.
No guest has ever got a point on the board. So this could be your chance, Ollie. And I've been fair, and I've selected Blackburn. Oh. So the player can be, he could have played in the 90s, he could have played in the 2000s, he could play to now. As long as he's played for Blackburn and you haven't made him up. Okay. So it starts with, so it's you take it in turns. I don't know the order yet. Fionn, Ollie, James, we'll go in that order. I'll put, I haven't, my phone's on charge, so I haven't got a stopwatch, but I'll put a 3-minute stopwatch on it now. Fionn, if you want to start.
Tim Sherwood. There we go.
Ollie?
Come on.
Benny McCarthy.
Oh.
Aaron McQuainer.
I'll get him out of the way. MGP.
MGP.
Christopher Samba.
Oh,
excellent choice.
Roque Santa Cruz.
Alfredo. Oh.
Bradley Dack.
Oh, yes.
Paul Robinson.
Brett Emerson.
Ooh. Sammy Smodic.
Oh, I was going to go for Sammy Smodic. That's
David Dunn.
Tyrese Dolan, for some reason. I've been
good player.
I'm thinking of other.
Tim Flowers? Did he play for Blackburn?
Yeah, yes, he did, yeah.
Did you? They had a midfield of Tim and Tim. That's just not acceptable, is
it? Two guy.
We'll go for hang on. Vince Grella, actually.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oceania.
Alan Shearer.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Stephen Reed.
Roque Santa Cruz hasn't been said yet.
Adam. We have had him.
Oh, has he? Oh.
Just think Lonsdale Kit, there's loads.
Yeah, Dominic Hyam still plays from... That's why my brain went from there to the end.
Chris Sutton.
Chris Sutton. SAS.
Yeah.
Robbie Savage.
Yakubu.
Oh, Robbie Savage. Great shout. Oh my God. Come on.
Oh, yes, got a great one.
Have I done? No, I can't have done. Come on. It's so mad how they all just escape you immediately.
Yeah, it's awful, this game, isn't it?
It's so hard. Oh, Sam Gallagher.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lucas Neal.
Zurab Kizanishvili.
Oh.
Bosh. So I think of other black, but now I'm stuck.
I'm really struggling now.
There's loads of strikers that went there at the end of the career, if that's helped to anyone.
How long have I got?
Well, there's still a minute and a half left on the clock, and it's the last person to say a name. You could hold it for a minute and a half if you want and get the win.
I'm just pretending.
This makes an awful podcasting, but
there is an ex Newcastle Barclaysman that played on the left wing.
Craig Bellamy.
Well, that counts, yeah, but that wasn't on about him. But yes, Jim.
Bit of an empowersman. Rudy Gested.
Ooh, Rudy.
Wow.
I played for shit as well. It took us down. Well, to stay up. That's it. When we were bottom, and we signed Patrick Bamford, Adlen Guediora, and Rudy. Oh, we're going down. Let me think of
It's a good song, regardless.
I know. Yeah.
I think I know what James has just thought of, if I'm honest.
I've got one as well. Just thought of one.
Well, I can't believe I've not said him.
20 seconds left.
I'm fucked. I'll just lose. Yeah, again.
Fion's out. Ollie, this looks like it could be a head-to-head. I'll add. This will be a 30-second 1v1. Right, Ollie, go.
I got it. I might. Scott Dan.
Ryan Nelson.
Oh, that's such a good shout. He was next to Samba. Oh, God.
Awful, isn't it? This is a horrible game that only benefits people with autism, like James.
10 seconds.
Oh, come on.
The death.
Come on, Blackburn.
3, 2, 1. James again. And Ryan Nelson helps him bring it home. Wow. I've just quickly loaded up the 08-09 squad. So players you could have had: Andre Uya, Stephen Warnock,
Stephen Warnock,
David Dunn, which didn't come up.
David Dunn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Johan Vogel, Keith Andrews, Paul Gallagher, Elhadj Diouf, Carlos Villanueva, Gail Give, Sergio Peter, Danny Simpson, Robbie Fowler, Keith Tracy, Alan Judge.
Robbie Fowler?
Yeah.
Robbie
Julio
Fowler.
Santa Cruz. Matt Derbyshire, Jason Roberts, Andy Cole, and Dwight York. Yeah.
Do you know? No one said David Bentley.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just.
They all come flooding back now.
Now, Ollie, awful game. This
on Thursday on Talksport. Can you chuck a variation of this game in and shout out the CULTRAS podcast?
Absolutely.
I think it's radio gold.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. See how, the thing is that, I usually do that show with Rory Jennings. I don't see him getting random Luton Town players, but we'll give it a go.
He's washed, mate. He's washed. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. Brett Everton's shit.
This is an absolute disgrace. This is supposed to be, some of the greatest players of our past. Right, yeah, so it'll be that kind of thing.
That is great. Just quickly.
Sorry, carry on. I won't do my impression of it.
No, I've just twigged in the head. It'll be the last thing before we close out. But just to impress James and Fionn, Ollie, can you show them your Jim White impression?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, here we are on the CULTRAS podcast, and let me tell you, it's been great fun. Simon, hasn't it been great? Because let me tell you, we've done the Blackburn quiz. We didn't do well with that, did we, Simon? But there's so much still to come. Stay with us.
Oh, that's the clip. There you go.
That's phenomenal, yeah.
I'll play, you know, like see, Michael Wooten, Olly Clink to your Fionn, but Jesus, I'll play.
We'll move on from that one.
I'll play. It's been
generic rapey uncle. I think.
It's been an absolutely impossible podcast.
I'm not usually impressed by impressions, but that one, I've seen it.
Thanks very much. I can just imagine, by the way, my flatmate down there going, for fuck's sake.
Again?
Oh, God. Right, yeah. Thank you very much.
What a guest.
Well, thank you very much. We'll have you back. We'll have you back, Ollie.
Yeah,
anytime.
When we get in the studio.
We get in the studio.
Yes. I'd love to, anytime. Been great fun.
Where can people find you, Ollie?
So on socials, you know, Clink's quite distinctive as a surname. So if you just type in Ollie with a Y and Clink, then you should be able to find me. And then in terms of listening, every Thursday on Talksport 2 between 3 and 5, do a show called The Social. As I said, it's usually me and Roy Jennings, and it's just proper football chat, mostly Premier League, a bit of Championship as well. I've got a new show that's on Spotify called How Football Works, which is where we try and simplify the business side of football, because usually it's Simon Jordan using a load of big words. And the idea is if I can understand what the guests are saying, then hopefully you can as well. And then, usually on a Saturday I'll be at a game. So if you tune into TalkSport, you might hear me going crazy about the ball hitting me in the face or something. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's been gret.
All the best to Newcastle for the season. For anybody watching.
Let's keep it reasonable, please.
You can follow us at CULTRAS Pod on everything, all the platforms that we're on. And yeah, if you've enjoyed
all 9
this,
3/4 of them.
And we'd run for a brick wall for all of you, but we'd run for a brick wall, especially for our patrons. And if you've enjoyed this podcast and think to yourself, I'd love to listen to this, but 48 hours in advance, well, you can by signing up to the CULTRAS at Patreon.
Culture_ultras, James, yes.
But Culture_ultras at patreon.com. £1 humble £1
£1 per month. Where Ollie's five-a-side team will be on as well. So if you want to come and see what five-a-side team he chose to take on the world at goals.
Yes. I wonder if they're playing bibs or non-bibs. Anyway, join us next week.
Have they been washed? Probably not.
Yeah. You do not wash these.
Well, that's one given away.
There's 1 out of 5.
No.
Oh, ATP. ATP, a Yaska line and deduction.
Giving a bit of it away.
Yossi Anderson of HJK Helsinki fame.
Great player.
Oh, what a way to finish. We'll see you next week for another episode. So, thank you very much.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.